Y'all can't see me. Hold on. What is going on with the lighting in here? Hold on, good. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. We'll figure it out. Hey, good people. Who's off today on this here good federal holiday? That would be me. That would be me. Guys, I wanted to show you all what I found at the Walmart. This lighting issue is going to drive me crazy. Hold on, let me see if I can fix it. Hold on. Let's see. Oh no, that's gonna help. Let's see if that helps with the light or not. Okay. So hey good people, who is off today on this here good federal holiday? That would be me. My name is Lolita Perry, but my friends call me Lola. I am the creator of Lola's World. Welcome to my world. At Lola's World, I bring groups of people together for activities that promote community, a life skill, self-sufficiency, and overall fun. Those activities can include canning, crafting, gardening, hiking, camping, whatever gets us involved with creating a world where we're self-sufficient. That's what we're going to do over here. If you have been with me for any amount of time, you've heard me talk about I live in Washington, D.C., and I'm a gardener, which means one, there's not a whole lot of space. And I just so happen to live in an HOA community where they take care of all of your yard space, which means they spray our entire community with a pesticide. As a result, it kills my bees and it kills my butterflies. And those are the heavy pollinators that are needed in the garden. Without them, it makes it difficult to have the fruits and the vegetables pollinate or produce fruit without those bees. So I've been talking the last 2 years about actually doing a DIY house. I found a class. Unfortunately, it was sold out. I didn't get a chance to get into the class where they show you how to do it. However, I went to Costco the other day, guys, and I found a bee house at Costco for 20 bucks. Talk about lucked up. Hey, Mary Jane. Hey, Joyce. I found a bee house where I didn't have to do it. If I ended up making my own bee house out of material, I could have done it, but it would have cost me the same one, and it was already prepackaged. So I paid for the service, $20 at Costco. So I wanted to show you all this. So without bees in the garden, let me tell you what that means. That means you have to hand pollinate. You have to figure out which one is the male flower and which one is the female flower. And you literally got to go out there and you got to shake some things around in order to get your fruit to pollinate. So yeah, I've been doing hand pollination the last 3 years because the bees and the butterflies are very limited in my area because the HOA sprays a pesticide. They'll start off, but then once they come and they spray the yard, then the bees and the butterflies, you don't see them anymore. You see some pesky moths that will eat your garden, but the bees don't survive. So I found this bee garden, this bee house. I'm trying, Joyce, I'm trying. I found this bee house and I got really excited because I'm going to read you the instructions on the bee house. So it's very specific. I'm going to show you. It's very cute. And it has my favorite color, the power color, which is red in it. So this box came from, listen, all Costco's don't sell the same thing. So you might go to your local Costco's and you may not find this particular bee house. But again, it was only 20 bucks. And, I don't know what's the box. Well, there she goes. Thank goodness I plan to keep it. But y'all see this little red house? Look at that. Isn't that cute? Let me take her out of the box. All right. So this is the bee house. It's a pretty good size. One of the main things I was reading is that your bee house needs to be at least 6 inches deep for the bees to do what they're going to do. So I've measured this out, and it is 6 inches deep, which is perfect for our area. Now, hanging it is going to be fun. It's got a little hook back here where if you were to put a nail or something in the tree, you can hang it on the tree real nice and easy. But I was looking at these. They have some slits on the side, and I was thinking if I wanted to, I could actually put a string in here, right? Maybe I could put some string in there and drape it from a tree, but I have two. I'm going to put one on the front of the house, and I'm going to put one near the back of the house because I do gardening in the front and in the back, and I need to be able to pollinate. Now, corn last year that I grew, you all watched me grow, I didn't need to hand pollinate because the way the corn works, when the wind comes through, it blows the tassels and it pollinated the corn really good, so I didn't need to do that. But if you look at the nooks and crannies here, this is what's going to happen. So the bee is going to go into the little slits here, right? There's room in the back for it to be able to navigate. The bee is going to lay its babies and along the track. So it's going to lay a baby here in the back, right? And then it's going to mud its baby in and leave some food and then mud its baby in. Then it's going to go to the next track, the next space, lay its baby, its larvae, leave some food in there, mud it in, and fill up the whole cocoon. And then the bee is going to seal off the front and seal them all in there. So next year, once the babies are ready to be born, the baby is going to eat the food that the mama bee has left, eat its way through, and come and be able to fly out and be able to pollinate. Now the bees die off, but this house is going to make it so that every year they'll have a place to lay their babies so that they can come back in the next year. And that's a lot of bees that can go in here. That's going to be exciting. So the other thing to note is there are some screws on the side here, and there's another screw on the side here. This bottom bar is going to come off, and you can take this whole cone out because this is where they're going to bury their babies in. You can take this whole cone out because what's going to happen is it's recommended that you bring the beehive out from the elements over the winter. Don't bring them into your house. You don't want to know shenanigans. But we'll store them inside of the shed in the back and cover it, keep it protected for over the winter. Hey, Michelle, I see you, girl. I got me a bee house and I'm so excited about it. I got 2 of them. So this can come out. Now, once all of your bees are born and your bees are flying around in the new year, you're just going to take a pipe cleaner, clean all these cells out, clean them out, and put it right back. Now, you want to keep your bee house in the same place so they know where to return. Bees have a good memory. Who knew that? Who knew that? But they'll go back to the same place that they were born, and they will lay their babies in the same place, go through the same process, and you'll have this recurring resource. So I'm excited about these bees. I'm going to actually talk to my my HOA again this year, and I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to request to see what type of pesticide they use, and it doesn't matter what they use, organic albeit. I'm going to tell them not to spray my yard. Probably one of the things I need to do is put up a fence that would keep them out of my yard completely. But that joker is quoted at $5,000. So we have other things we can do with $5,000, but we're going to have to work around it. But I'm going to request that they not spray any type of pesticides in the front of our yard or in the back of our yard, as well as we need to know the schedule in advance because people tend to forget. A couple of years ago, we would put signs up and tell them not to spray or not even to cut our lawn because we didn't want them to cut our lawn. We decided we'll mow our own lawn, we'll trim our own bushes, don't touch anything. And that went really successful until there was a changing of the guard, and they just did everybody's lawn, regardless of being in the community. So we want to get their schedule to find out when they're actually coming out so that one of us can be home and tell them not, make sure they don't spray our yard, make sure they're not putting any pesticide down. Even though they're going to spray the whole community, it might help for the bees that we're trying to keep intact, but it's just a common practice. You want to get rid of the dandelions. You don't want weeds growing, so people spray a pesticide. There is a way to use a pesticide that doesn't kill your bees and your butterflies, but the question is, what's cheaper for the community and what they're willing to do. So I'm a little stuck right now until I get to my homestead, my dream location. I'm trying to do some workarounds, but I have 2 bee houses. One is going to go in the front. One is going to go in the back. My bees now have a place to put their babies and kind of mud them in so that next year when it's time to pollinate or be born, I'll have more pollinators. So I can't wait to tell you all if or how this works. Again, last couple of years, I've been out there shaking the male flowers on the females to get my tomatoes to grow, the cucumbers to grow, because I just don't have enough bees and butterflies, the pollinators in my community. Now, guys, I don't like Mary Jane, listen, you can still come by. The thing about the mason bees, they're not your honeybees. Mason bees are not aggressive. Honeybees, they are a bit more aggressive. They have stingers. Mason bees, I had to learn, they pretty much mind their own business. They just want to pollinate. They just want to drink of water, and they're not aggressive at all. They're not going to sting you all up unless you get aggressive, you know, with them. So you don't have to worry about them being aggressive. I just learned to kind of work around them because I want them to do their thing. I'll even leave them and let them work and come back later. Like, y'all go ahead. I'll come back tonight. I'll get my fruit. I'll get my vegetables, but y'all go ahead and work because I don't want to bother them. Now, Mary Jane, I know, and a lot of people are deathly allergic to bee stings. So it is definitely something to watch. If you're scared of bees or if you're allergic to bees, you definitely want to be careful around them. However, our bees are responsible for, our pollinators are responsible for 80% of our food production. If we keep killing them or they're not around to pollinate our food, we're going to have a bigger problem. Now, we may not at our age, but our children's children will probably feel the weight of the missing bees. So we need to find a way to be able to bring our bees and our pollen and our butterflies back, so that, or keep them protected so that they can keep doing what they're doing. We don't want them to become extinct because then that's going to mess with our food. So try, when you see bees, if you're scared of them, get away. Get away. Try not to, swat them if at all possible. Just, get away quickly. But I'm sorry you've been stung 4 times. That cannot be fun. I've only been stung as a child, not as an adult, never in my garden these last couple of years. They did used to terrify me, especially those big black ones. We used to call them bumblebees, right? But these mason bees, they're not there to be aggressive. They really want to pollinate and do their job. So I'm trying to let them do it. And this little house, my 2 houses, I hope they will help me out with my pollination on this in this spring. On Wednesday, I'm coming back Wednesday to talk about what are you doing, what are you working on Wednesday. And on Wednesday, I'm going to talk about seed starting. You'll be able to see, I'm not sure if I'm gonna put my seed starting kit together on the live. I may have it already started and then just talk to you through the process. I'm gonna talk about how I build my system, the lightings that I use to start my seedlings indoors. Hey Willow, I'm off work on this here good federal holiday, and I'm talking about this bee house that I just picked up. So I'm going to talk about seed starting on Wednesday, how I do that indoors, the lighting that I use, the soil that I use. That's a good question, Mary Jane. I'm gonna come back to that one. I'm also going to talk about the plan for 2020, what and where I plan to plant and everything that I'm planning to plant in the garden. So I'm actually going to map it out with you all live and give you some tools and tips to use if you're starting your garden in this year, whether you're newbie or whether you've been doing this thing for a while, just to give you an insight look on what we're doing and maybe give some tips and tricks. So join me on Wednesday. I'm going to go live around about 6 o'clock. I'll confirm that time on tomorrow. So Mary Jane asks the question, how can you tell the male from the female? So the male plant has a piston in the middle. It looks like the female is just open and round, whereas the male, you'll see in the middle of the flower there's a piston, and you'll see it's covered with the yellow pollen, and you'll take that and you'll just shake that into your female plant. Now, what I've done in the past, which has worked, is I just stand out there. Y'all don't judge me. I'm figuring this out. I'm teaching y'all as I go. So I will stand out there and I grow in containers. And so I'll have a plant over here and a plant over there. And I'm literally just shaking the thickness of the branch to see what falls and let it fall all over. And some places you'll see, like, I'll have pockets of tomatoes or pockets of cucumbers, and in other places it's not, because the pollination probably didn't reach that far. But I'm just out there, I'm just like shaking, just shaking and shaking and shaking and shaking and tilting and shaking. And that has been a thing that worked for me. It's unnerving because it's not guaranteed to land where you want it to land, but it has been working. What else do I want to share with you guys about Marlene? If you find that in terms of should you get a bee house, if you find that you don't have a lot of pollinators or butterflies in your area, it's definitely beneficial to have one, to give them a house and a habitat to have so that they can keep restoring themselves. It's a great item to have. If you find that you don't have a lot of fruit production, or your fruit production is low in your garden, then you might want to get a bee house and give them a place so that they can come and pollinate. So if you have when you look at your seed inside of your tomato, the pollinator is responsible for every one of those seeds inside of your vegetation, guys. So if you find that you have a tomato and there's not a lot of seed in there, that meant that there wasn't good pollination. If you find that you have grow watermelon and doesn't have a lot of seeds in it, it has a few seeds in it, it's because you didn't have good pollination. Your bees didn't do the job on that particular fruit or that vegetable. So that's something to look for if you see that you have low seeds and something that has a lot of seeds. And I'm like, where are the seeds at? That's because the bees weren't out there pollinating, so you didn't get all of the goods that you were supposed to get. Another good thing to do is to help with the bees as well. If you don't have like a butterfly garden or a bee garden where you're growing these robust flowers that attracts them and keeps them around, is whenever you grow your collards and your kales, what happens at the end of their lifespan, when they're like done producing and done growing, they do what we call shoot. What happens is you'll see a stem come right up out of the collards or the kale or the cabbage, and they'll be long and they'll be stringy, and they'll start to flower. Bees love that. So it may be a good idea if you grow, like I grow in the early spring when it's still chilly, because collards and kale are a cool vegetable. They like the cool weather over the summer weather. Is just let them shoot up, let the flowers come, and that'll attract your bees as well. But a bee house is still a good thing to have if you find that you don't have a lot of pollinators, and you see that you're like, I planted these things, I got all of these leaves, and there's no fruit. I have all of these, it's pretty, it's green, it's growing, but what happened to, my tomatoes? Why aren't my cucumbers here? Like, what happened to my my cantaloupe and my watermelon? It's green, it's growing, but I didn't get any fruit. You probably don't have any pollinators. you're probably missing your bees and your butterflies from coming and being able to do their job. So that's something to look out for. But if you have really good fruit, your garden is doing great. It's robust. You find that you got your squash are growing all over the place. Your melons are growing. Your tomatoes, you're full. They're ripe. They're delicious. You probably have good pollinators, and maybe you don't see them, but somebody is working, doing their job. Try not to kill the bees. Try not to kill the bees. I know they're scary little suckers, but try not to keep them. So I have one that's going to go in the front of the house. I have one that's going in the back of the house. Real quick recap. So what's going to happen is there's these tubes, right? The bees are going to go into the slits up here, or they might come to the front, and they're going to lay their babies starting from the back. They're going to lay their baby, leave some food, and then they're going to mud their baby in, seal them in. And they're going to go along the tube and do that until there's no more space. And then they're going to cap it off, mud this in, and keep their babies nice and safe. Oh, yes, you can do squash on your patio, MJ. You can absolutely do that on your patio. Get a container version if you want to grow squash on your patio, because it's going to allow them not to grow so big. So after the bees are secure, after the mama bee lays them in there and they're secure, she's nested them, you're going to keep this in your shed over the winter to keep it protected from the snow. And then what's going to happen is in the spring, when everything begins to thaw out and it gets warm, the bees are going to start, they're going to eat the food that's left, and they're going to dig out that little mud patch that's left in there, and it's going to fly out, and it's going to be right there in our garden, ready to pollinate. How amazing is that? And because bees are smart, they're going to remember where they came from. They're going to go back to the house, and they're going to do the process all over again. They're going to lay their babies, leave their babies some food, mud them in, and this cycle will just keep happening over and over again. Again, this was $20 at Costco's. Let me see if I can find the brand. The brand was called Bambeco, B-A-M-B-E-C-O. It's a cute little house. They have in the back a little notch right here where I can put a nail into the tree or onto a post and hang this on there. And then I also noted that they have these little slits on the side. If I wanted to, I could probably put some string in here and let it hang tie it on a tree branch outside and let it tie. If I didn't want to put a nail into the tree or something, I felt like it was going to damage or hurt the tree, that's an option. Keep your bee house in the same place so that the bees know where to go back to when it comes time to lay their babies. And your girl is most excited about her bee houses. I have too. So yes, Mary Jane, plant your squash on your deck, but you're going to need you're going to need the pollinators to come. You're going to need the bees to come and pollinate, or you're going to have to get out there and shake your males with your females. That's all I'm saying. You got to do a little more work or let the bees do it. So that's my bee house. It has all the instructions inside of the package. Everything that I just told you is there. Pollinators are 80-1 when it comes to honeybees. Honeybees are producers, they're workers, they're pollinators as well, but their assignment is to produce honey. But the pollinators that we want, they come out 80-1, and we need to save them and make sure that they don't get extinct on us, because they're responsible for 80% of our food production, and we need it. And you're going to need them for your garden in 2020. So don't forget to join me on Wednesday. I'll be back and I'll be showing you how I'm starting my seeds indoors, the lighting system that I actually use, very inexpensive, the soil that I prefer to grow my seedlings in, how I grow my seedlings. Sometimes I use cups, the little, those red Solo drinking cups. You can use the plant containers that you bought from last year, those little cells. You can use toilet paper rolls, all different types of methods. So let's talk about that on Wednesday. I'm going live Wednesday for What Are You Working On at 6 p.m. Come back, and I have some great tips and tricks for you all. Thanks, guys, for signing in. Remember, I got to keep telling you all this. You are enough. You have what it takes. Use a bad mama jamma boo, even on your worst day, on your off day. You still gonna have what it takes. Okay, whatever he put in you, and I mean by God, whatever God put in you was designed to sustain you and equip this world that you live in. Do what you do to the glory of God. Give it all to him, serve him, love him, and baby, you ain't never gonna go lacking, because I never seen the righteous forsaken or his seed begging bread. Are you his seed? You say you a king's kid. What? If you a king's kid, you an heir of God, a joint heir with Christ Jesus, baby, you power packed. You power packed. You are this earth's pollination system. There's life in you. Trust what he put in you. Don't doubt what God told you. I don't care what the delay. I don't care what the setback. I don't care what they said. Baby, God don't lie. And he is not the son of man that he would repent. So if he put it in there, you better work it. I'll talk to you guys on Wednesday. Enjoy your federal holiday or your day. Bye.